Chapter 61. Various Powers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 61. Various Powers. We must get our hands on this weapon. Edward Seidel said in a low voice, his eyes glowing with fanaticism. Our position as the hegemon of the United States will once again be stabilized. The Chinese are still trying to surpass us. Humph, absolutely impossible. It was as if they had already seen the future. A satisfied smile appeared on Edward Seidel's face. Moreover, he could not imagine which country had the ability to challenge the United States now. Let the US remain as the world's policeman, as unpleasant as that sounded. Minister, you see, this discussion is over. No matter the cost, get this laser cutters. No, laser cannons technology in the shortest time possible. Edward Seidel paused for a moment. He continued, of course, don't offend the top 10 consortiums if you can. But if they get in our way, then we'll go against them. Although many others can bear being beneath them, once it involves the enhancement of the country's power, we will not compromise as easily. Oh right, we must also get the technology for the nano-neutrino battery. Isn't this battery technology compatible with the laser cannon? The bald lieutenant general immediately stood up. Minister, I think this matter, if you think it's a weapon that changes the playing field, then do as I say. If you have any objections, then go directly to the president. If you can persuade the president to remove me from my position, then I have nothing to say. Minister, I don't have that intention, then do as I say. This, Edward Seidel looked at the bald lieutenant general's hesitation and immediately pointed at the brigadier general. You will handle this matter. Remember, do it as quickly as possible. Understood. The brigadier general saluted and strode out without looking back. As fast as possible. Hearing Edward Seidel repeat himself loudly, the brigadier general immediately ran. He knew that as long as this matter was done, he was bound for a huge promotion almost immediately. The opportunity was right in front of him, so it was easy for him to decide. However, the United States was only one corner of the many parliaments. Japan. Camera.Cohen, you've already seen the power of the laser cutter. Moreover, this is the intermediate energy output setting. This proves that there is still an advanced energy output behind it. If the United States obtains the information on this weapon, the Japanese will be suppressed by them once again, after having worked so hard to raise their backs a little. Therefore, there are only two ways about this. 1. Obtain the technology of this laser cutter. 2. Fight to the death. Do you understand? In the video, the man wearing the ghost mask gave an order. Understood. Gimaru immediately nodded and answered. No matter the cost. If this matter is not handled properly, I will personally perform a hara-kiri in front of you. After saying his oath, the other party took the initiative to hang up the video. The nature of this matter had already been decided. As an agent hiding in the United States, Gimaru had been collecting all kinds of intelligence that were beneficial to Japan. In the past few days, Raymond's actions became capable of changing the globe. So, he was well aware of Raymond's movements. According to the information he had, obtaining the laser cutter's information would grant them leverage equivalent to the sky. So, there is only one way left for him, a life and death struggle. Not only must they destroy all traces of the laser cutter's related information, but the laser cutter itself also had to be eradicated. Of course, the most important thing was Raymond had to die. As long as he lived, he could always rebuild from the ground up. Seoul. Inside the presidential palace. The Minister of Information, the Minister of Secret Service, the Minister of Science and Technology, and other high-ranking officials were gathered together. They were extremely angry at the current proceedings of humans on camera. The incident with Park Hyun-yo had completely disgraced their Korean nation. However, they were not sentencing Park Hyun-yo to death, just yet. Raymond and his laser cutter was their main priority at that moment. This is beyond the scope of business. We must get our hands on such a powerful weapon. Although our 2-star group has designed many weapons for our army over the years, we haven't had any breakthroughs yet. And now, a new opportunity is right in front of us. We must find a way to get the information on the laser cutter and the original weapon. As for whether or not it will anger the top 10 consortia, we're way past that now. After all, we all know the importance of economy and military power. Of course, if we can safely invite Raymond to our country, that would be the best-case scenario. What do you guys think about this? After the president's secretary finished speaking, the matter was settled. His words basically represented the president's wishes. In front of such a weapon, no one could resist its temptation. At that moment, the head of the Secret Service Department stood up. If it wasn't for this matter, the spy I arranged wouldn't have shown up yet. Well, it's time for him to show his face. Don't worry, Secretary Jean. We have complete confidence this time. There's only one condition. Secretary Jean said, "Tell me, as long as we can get the specific information, I'll definitely get them to cooperate with us." I think the commotion caused by Raymond this time will definitely be coveted by many countries, and the forces that cause trouble will be countless. I hope that the intelligence department can make a move and muddle up this puddle so that it will be convenient for my people. Secretary Jean hesitated for a moment before looking at the head of the intelligence department. The head of the intelligence department nodded. No problem. This time, the intelligence department will do their best to cause chaos. I hope that your people from the Secret Service Department can raise our country's military strength to a higher level. Don't worry, Secretary Jean. The geographical advantage and people are on our side. As for the window, it is about time. At the same time, Italy, Germany, Russia, China, and other countries that were under threat quickly held a meeting or issued orders. For a moment, the wave of people targeting Raymond and the laser cutter immediately swept over. The omnipotent being of the internet, the inventor of high-level programming languages, the smartest program, Raymond's loyal supporter, and the actual controller of Raymond's robots was Tuesday. She intercepted messages about Raymond on the internet. On top of that, these messages were all encrypted. She deciphered them without a problem. Their arrows all pointed to Raymond, her creator. How about, at that moment, Tuesday really wanted to start a cyber war. But she held back. Instead, she gave the information to Raymond. Let him decide. Chapter 62. Another Woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 62. Another Woman. Sir, I have something to report to you. Tuesday's voice sounded in his earpiece. Actually, Tuesday did not want to disturb Raymond, who was reading. But she had deduced that this matter was more important than Raymond's reading. Is the data from the laser cutter out yet? Raymond continued reading, but his speed was slightly slower. He was quite used to the buffs the system had given him over the past few days. Therefore, it was not a big problem for him to be distracted. The data is out. But there are more important things. Tuesday's tone was becoming more and more human-like. Raymond was glad to hear that. She could now accurately calculate and also understand human-like judgments. This was the level of artificial intelligence that Raymond wanted. However, his thoughts focused on the now. He said calmly, "Do many forces have their eyes on the laser cutter and want me dead?" "Yes, sir." "Tuesday, what do you think we should do?" After Raymond asked this question, Tuesday remained silent for over 10 seconds. On the other hand, the server in the military base was operating at a crazy speed. It was obvious that Tuesday was thinking hard. She was trying to find a satisfactory answer. "Any ideas?" "Sir, I think I can use my ability to control the bases that can launch nuclear bombs and throw the world into chaos. They will be too distracted to come after you." Do you have the confidence to crack the launch codes of the nuclear bombs? Sir, my program has been upgraded. The current algorithm can completely crack the codes of those bases. Oh. Any other ideas? I think this plan is the most reliable. Okay. Let me throw in a variable and you can think about it again. Please go ahead, sir. From the day I was broadcasted live, within 30 days, I need to build a space battleship and preserve the necessary materials and information about our civilization. Why such a specific time limit? Perhaps you can hack into a few astronomical laboratories and have a look. Astronomical laboratories, as Tuesday spoke, countless amounts of data started to be filtered. The data of dozens of astronomical laboratories were plundered by Tuesday. Soon, Tuesday found some unusual data. The huge server, through precise calculations, immediately came to a fact. At that moment, a huge meteorite was about to hit the Earth violently. Sir, why don't you cooperate with other forces? Tuesday, do you understand human nature? Actually, the server of the military base started to operate frantically again. Sir, I don't understand human nature. Since you don't understand, then listen to me. Unless they use nuclear weapons, our first priority is to develop. We don't care about anything else. Raymond flipped through the book, his eyes sweeping quickly. As for why, you can think about it slowly. But I don't want anyone to set foot on the island. Yes, sir. Raymond and Tuesday's communication ended completely. The people in the live broadcast room remained just as unaware. The current Tuesday already knew when to activate the scene simulation. After his talk with Tuesday, Raymond started to study again. The design of the space battleship wasn't that simple. There were many specific things that Raymond wasn't sure about. However, not long after Raymond started reading, Tuesday's voice came again. Sir. What's the matter now? A human was found in a van. A human. The program team's arrangement. There was no mention of this on the internet. Take me to see it, Raymond continued, turn off the simulation. This time, Raymond was interested. Raymond knew that Gail Gadot's arrival had been arranged by the program team. From Tuesday, he had even found out where Gail Gadot had studied and what she had learned. He knew her purpose of entering the program. As for the person locked in the van, even Tuesday could not find anything related. This person who was locked up. Where did he come from? Could the program team have made a mistake? Soon, the robot controlled by Tuesday arrived at the scene with Raymond. It was at the intersection of Chinatown and Gale Street on the island. This was a gathering place for office workers. The apartments were very dense. Help! Is anyone there? Help me! Bang bang bang! A woman's voice came from inside the van. Raymond, who had arrived at the scene, easily noticed that the van was locked from the outside. Open the door, Raymond ordered. The robot quickly opened the rear door. A very beautiful and delicate woman appeared in Raymond's field of vision. Great! Finally, wah 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 wah, the woman was in a state of panic, and her eyes rapidly scanned her surroundings. The moment she saw the robot, she screamed, ah, then, the woman rolled her eyes and fainted. She fainted. Raymond looked at the woman and felt a headache coming along the way. The robot went forward to take a look and Tuesday replied, Sir, she did faint. In the international live broadcast room. A second woman's appearance stunned many of the audience. What's going on? Is this a new trick? A woman appeared out of nowhere. Did the program team forget about her? So many people were evacuated in one night. It's normal to leave some people behind. But how is this woman still alive after all these days? L.RG, God knows how she survived. Sigh, if only I hadn't taken the money back then, I could have hidden myself somewhere there. I'm so regretful. What's there to regret? You just want to get close to the Thunder God. I'm too embarrassed to expose you. Damn it, there's someone who thinks the same as me. If we play this way, I won't be sleepy anymore. How do you think Gal Gadot will handle this? Wahahaha, I'm so looking forward to seeing the expression on Gal's face. The audience had their own opinions. At that moment, the program team was also in a daze. Maggie put the microphone to her mouth several times, but she did not say a word. Because this was not part of the program. As for Wilson and Sam, they looked at each other and saw disbelief in each other's eyes. Where did this woman come from? Gal Gadot was the most shocked. Why was there another actress? Could it be that the Ross Financial Group was unhappy with their progress, so they arranged for another person to come in? But from where she stood with Raymond, she almost understood one thing. This woman had not been arranged by the program team. But if that was the case, this only caused unnecessary complications. Chapter 63. Want a shower together? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 63. Want a shower together? At that moment, Gal Gadot had a headache. One had to know that the top 10 consortia had spent a lot of effort on the Humans on Camera program. In order to prevent them from knowing, this program even carried out a targeted network blockade. The people they may come into contact with, the things they may come into contact with, and all the channels through which they may receive information had been dealt with. Therefore, this woman definitely knew about this program. After all, the program team had spent a lot of money to market this program and hype expectations up. Basically, apart from the 5 of them, there was no one in the world who didn't know about this program. Then, there's only one solution: kill her. Gal Gadot had already thought of a reason. She had already fallen in love with Raymond and was afraid that Raymond would fall in love with this woman. Therefore, for her own selfish interests, she acted obsessively. It would be inappropriate for a man to care for an unconscious woman, regardless of the circumstances. Therefore, the first thing that came to Raymond's mind was Gal Gadot. It did not occur to Raymond that Gal Gadot might not look upon this kindly. He left one robot behind and left the scene. This woman was also very beautiful. This woman's breasts were even bigger than Gal Gadot's. But none of those thoughts rose. Because this woman simply stank. Raymond had stayed in the slums for so long, but even he could not bear the smell. This woman must have been dealing with all sorts of problems in the van all these days, including the problems that required release. Without Raymond standing in the way, Gal Gadot could work more freely. Tuesday, could you please carry her into the bathroom? She needs to be cleaned, yes, Ms. Gal Gadot. Tuesday controlled the Apocalypse robot and carried the woman into the bathroom. Gal Gadot was very relieved to do it in her own bathroom. After all, she had destroyed all the pinhole cameras there. Sigh, what a pity. She destroyed the cameras earlier. I saw Gadot's expression just now. She looks genuinely surprised. The program team knows precisely what we want to watch. The cameraman better add some drumroll effects tonight. F*CK the cameraman, the entire team has to do that. The team better go overtime with the editing. This new woman is so beautiful. My heart has already fallen for her. She's so dirty, what's there to see? You men, always looking on the surface. Her skin is even better than Gal Gadot's. *T, Gadot is the #1 in the world. The most beautiful. Tell me, what should Gadot do now? How can we prevent Raymond from discovering the truth? I think we should just get in contact with this woman and tell her what's going on. No, the robot is right outside. He can hear us. No, even if this woman agrees to cooperate, she's not a trained actress. How would she deceive Thunder God and his robot? We can't let Gadot murder her. At that moment, Gal Gadot was ready to make her move. If the audience could think of it, how could she not think of it? If she could not think of it at all, she would not have been assigned to play this role. I'm sorry. God forgive me. Gadot silently prayed and turned on the shower in the bathroom. The sound of water dripping on the ground might be able to cover her movements. But at that moment, the eyelids of the unconscious woman moved slightly. Gal Gadot's heart clenched up. The next moment, she grabbed the woman's neck. Hiss, hiss, the woman struggled to make a sound. The pressure on her throat forced her mouth open and stuck her tongue out. As if by instinct, this woman also grabbed Gal Gadot's neck. If anything, she was a lot stronger than Gal Gadot. The situation instantly reversed. Only when Gal Gadot released her hand weakly did the woman release hers. Cough, 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 Gal Gadot hacked and coughed. The steam in the bathroom further hindered her breathing. It made her very uncomfortable. What's wrong with this woman? Why is she stronger than me? Gal Gadot couldn't figure it out. She had received more than half a year of training. She was even stronger than the average man. Moreover, this woman seemed too Asian, Chinese even. How could she be stronger? But more surprises awaited her. The woman tilted her head and looked at the uncomfortable Gal Gadot. She said childishly, "Sister, the game just now wasn't fun. Let's not play it anymore." Gah. Gal Gadot was still confused. What was going on? Was this woman retarded? Or did she lose her memory? Gal Gadot suppressed her pain and tried her best to smile. Okay, we won't play this game anymore. Yeah, that game was so uncomfortable. Can you tell me your name, sister? Jean Shishan, what's your name? Jean Shishan. That's a pretty name. My name is Gal Gadot. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's pretty. Jean Shishan looked at Gal Gadot, who was much taller than her and was a little discouraged. Then, she realized that something was wrong with her. She immediately shouted, "Oh shit, my body is so dirty. Sister, help me wash it. Ah, it's so dirty, so dirty. Ah, okay, I'll help you wash now." Gal Gadot's mind was reeling. She did not find pleasure in killing people. If Jean Shishan would not expose the situation here, it was not impossible for her to be spared. If she might be exposed, there were still many ways to deal with her easily. Without Gal Gadot saying anything, Jean Shishan took off her clothes very consciously. However, her measurements were several sizes larger than Gal Gadot's. Looking at her level of development, Gal couldn't help but frown. It seems like I've embarrassed the Westerners. I really hate their childlike looks and huge boobs. She cursed inwardly, but Gal Gadot did not remain idle. She took the shower and started to shower Jean Shishan. Her skin is better than mine. If only I had Eastern blood, there was nothing she could do. As a purebred Westerner, Galdado had many advantages. She had a three-dimensional body, a short waist, long legs, beautiful eyes, and noble temperament. However, compared to an Easterner, her skin was beyond compare. Moreover, Jean Shishan did not seem to go out much, so her skin was practically unblemished. It was inevitable that Gal Gadot's competitive mentality would be aroused. However, at that moment, Gal Gadot was setting her weakest points against the best points of others. It was a no.no in horse racing, something Gal Gadot clearly was not versed in. Chapter 64. Making Unplanned Changes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 64. Making Unplanned Changes. Gal Gadot's thoughts came to an end after Jean Shishan finished showering. I.e., sister, do you have any extra clothes? I don't even have any clothes to wear. Jean Shishan wiped herself dry and asked a question. Wait a moment, sister will go get them for you. Don't come out on your own. Other than this bathroom, the outside was filled with cameras. Out of kindness, Gorgado did not want Jean Shishan's body to be photographed and spread. Okay, that it was not a big problem to find clothes. Gal Gadot had taken the time to get a lot of clothes in the morning. It was enough. She had also prepared some female care products. But Jean Shishan's growth was a little too excessive. No bra around could accommodate her. After struggling for a few minutes, Gal Gadot gave Jean Shishan a black shirt. Raymond probably wouldn't be able to tell. As for the lower half, it was easy to deal with. Apart from the necessary lining, a skirt and a pair of slippers did the trick. But even so, Jean Shishan was too beautiful. A bunch of perverts in the live broadcast room saw Jean Shishan come out and turned against her. They expressed that they couldn't take it anymore. They added another name to the list of their wives. These refugees were criticized by a bunch of female netizens. Time slowly passed, and it was time for dinner. This time, without Gal Gadot's reminder, Raymond came over to eat on his own accord. Most importantly, Raymond wanted to know the background of this woman. However, as soon as Raymond came over, Jean Shishan pounced on him like she had gone crazy. Brother. However, the robots did not grant Jean Shishan his wish. They caught hold of Jean Shishan. Brother, are these robots yours? With the robots holding her back, Jean Shishan did not cry or make a fuss. Instead, she touched them with a curious expression. She seemed to be very interested in the robots. It was a world of difference from when they first met. Brother. Raymond had a face full of question marks. What was going on? Tuesday had drawn some conclusions and shared her thoughts with Raymond. Something has jogged her mind, and her memory has reverted back to her childhood. Tuesday had examined Jean Shishan from every angle and was certain that she was not faking it. Then why did you stop her? Sir, in her current state, she can't completely control her strength. If I hadn't stopped her just now, you would have had a 92.6% chance of getting knocked down on your ass. Is she very strong? At least twice as strong as you. Raymond. I'm not a freaking unit of measurement, don't take me as the base number. Seeing Raymond mumble to himself, Gal Gadot was not the least bit surprised. She knew about Tuesday's existence. But Jean Shishan was different. Brother, is there something wrong with your brain? Why are you still mumbling to yourself? Hey. Raymond didn't mind it. He pointed at his wireless earpiece. I'm talking to Tuesday. Oh, it's like a phone call. Jean Shishan seemed to understand. Brother, can you give me one of these robots? It'll be fun. Sure. Raymond agreed immediately. Jean Shishan was an unknown factor. With a robot by her side, she could be a spy. Raymond hated unaccountable factors. Raymond and Jean Shishan sat down, while Gal Gadot went to fetch the food. She turned around and Jean Shishan sat beside Raymond. If it weren't for the fact that Raymond only had enough seats for one person, Gal Gadot would have suspected that Jean Shishan and Raymond would be squeezed together. Hugging Raymond's arm, Jean Shishan leaned on Raymond's shoulder. She turned around and sniffed the smell on Raymond's neck, looking intoxicated. Ah, brother's body smells so good. At that moment, Raymond was really a little confused. These days, he had learned more and more things. The range of things he had learned was also getting wider and wider. Mathematics, physics, optics, programming, psychology. Logically speaking, there should be one field among all these specialties that could guide him in dealing with the problems he was facing now. But the key point was that the touch on his arm made him a little absent-minded. Hormones were rapidly secreting. He raised his cudgel. Moreover, he could accurately feel that only a layer of fabric was between Jean Shishan and himself. There were a few moments when he even felt Jean Shishan's hardening nubs. If Raymond had a cooling fan in his head, the rotational speed at this moment would probably be comparable to Tuesday's computational ability. When Raymond saw Gal Gadot come out, he felt a little awkward for a moment. At least Gal Gadot was more attractive. He wanted to pull his arm out. Jean Shishan wrinkled his nose as if she had gotten what Raymond wanted. She immediately increased her strength. Then, Raymond's hand was forcefully placed on Jean Shishan's thigh. Luckily, Jean Shishan had a dress on. Shishan, let go of your brother. It's time to eat. Seeing the state of Raymond and Jean Shishan, Gal Gadot didn't look happy nor worried. No way. Brother smells so good. Jean Shishan took a deep breath in front of Raymond's nose. This action only worsened the agitation in Raymond's heart. This woman's appearance will seriously affect my progress. I have to, Tuesday, take her. Raymond stopped mid-sentence. He was in a dilemma. On one side was the threat of the meteorite. On the other side was the temptation of the woman. This was a difficult choice to make. Hurry up, behave now. Eat your meal. Gal Gadot's tone hardened. Looking at Gal Gadot, Jean Shishan pursed her lips in protest. However, Gal Gadot's expression did not change, and Jean Shishan had to relent. All right, she slowly let go with a reluctant look on her face. When Jean Shishan let go, Raymond was not happy, but at the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. This woman was poisonous. In the international live broadcast room. It's over, it's over. The Thunder God Monarch has fallen. Oh, I like Jean Shishan so much. She's so cute. I like this type the most. Moreover, her body is an adult, but her mind is so immature. This is so interesting. By the way, don't you think it's suspicious? A woman with an oriental face actually appeared on the island, and the program team doesn't even know about it. If there's something wrong with this woman, I suggest you let me handle it. I will interrogate her for answers. I suggest you send her directly to my home. I'm willing to do anything for Thunder God. Why do I feel like Jean Shishan's intelligence has plummeted since her first appearance? Could the two ladies have made some secret pact in the bathroom? +1. Be more daring. I think Jean Shishan is a fan of Thunder God. She snuck into the shooting location. Then, she disguised herself and made a deal with Gadot. Disguise. By throwing away all semblance of cleanliness. F***ck, what do you even mean? She did it to herself. If she's not disgusting and filthy, then what is it? Chapter 65. Jean Shishan takes the initiative. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 65. Jean Shishan takes the initiative. After dinner, Raymond went to read a book for a while. Seeing that it was almost time, he went to wash up. He had just laid down and barely even reached down for his blanket. Jean Shishan opened the door. She stuck her head out by the door. Brother. Do you need me to turn off the lights for you? Seeing Jean Shishan, Raymond's head was full of question marks. He picked up his earpiece and asked immediately. Tuesday, what's going on? Sir, your testosterone has been a little high these 2 days, so I think her coming here will help your health. Jean Shishan entered the room before Tuesday could finish. She closed the door and turned off the lights in one go. Then, she took the quilt that Raymond was reaching for and went to Raymond's side. She did not care about Raymond's reaction and immediately laid down by his side. She hugged Raymond's arm and took a breath between his neck. Ah, brother's smell, it smells so good. She was only doing what she wanted to do. Moreover, according to Jean Shishan's understanding, this wasn't a problem. But she had caused more trouble for Raymond by doing this. Yes. Americans were very open. But that was under the circumstances of mutual consent. But now, Jean Shishan's intelligence was regressed. Even if she wanted to, it would not work. Moreover, as Raymond learned more and more things, he also had a set of ideas of his own. If Gal Gadot came to him voluntarily, he did not mind doing her. After all, Gal Gadot wanted something from him. Whether or not she could get what she wanted was entirely up to her. But Jean Shishan was different. She had lost her social awareness. Ethically, what she did was illegal. Even if Tuesday just made that ridiculous suggestion. Some lines must not be crossed. His mind kept drifting. But Raymond could not control his body's reaction. To cover up his embarrassment, Raymond instinctively turned his back to Jean Shishan. Jean Shishan had no idea why. "Brother, why did you turn your back?" As she said this, she pulled Raymond's shoulder, intending to turn him over. "Does brother hate me?" Indeed, she was way stronger than Raymond. Therefore, even if he was unwilling, she forced him to turn. "No, I don't hate you. It's just that I'm a little tired. It's been a long day. Sleeping on my side can make me feel more comfortable." "Then brother, you can sleep on my side. I'm used to sleeping on my right side." "Oh," Jean Shishan thought for a while and dragged Raymond over with all her might. Then, many spots were left on Raymond's right side. "I may be like a child now, but I'm not stupid. I was careless." Since he had already said it, Raymond could not take those words back. He could only let Jean Shishan run to his right side. "Brother, why does your body smell so good?" It seemed that Jean Shishan was just as confused. I don't have any smell on me, right?" "Yes, there is. This smell, in other words, it's... I don't know what to say, but I like it very much." "Alright, go to sleep. I still have something to do tomorrow, don't disturb me." "Okay." Jean Shishan agreed immediately. However, her hands and feet were not honest. She immediately grabbed Raymond's neck and put herself close to him. Then, her foot pressed into Raymond's body as well. This series of movements seemed to have been rehearsed beforehand, without any delay. Meanwhile, Raymond's breathing only grew more intense. At this moment, he could completely feel Jean Shishan's breathing. It was not just the air she blew out through her nose. He could clearly feel her lungs expanding and shrinking. BDNV most importantly, his blood-filled, organic body felt pressure concentrating on one spot. The pressure was just right, causing him to feel an intense desire to release his male hormones at that moment. "The heavens have given me a great responsibility, so I have to put in a lot of effort first." Before Raymond could finish his thought, Jean Shishan seemed to feel uncomfortable. "Brother, put your hand out." "I don't feel very comfortable, Jean Shishan, that's more like it." "No. Hold me. It's more comfortable that way." Raymond moved slightly, and Jean Shishan immediately felt something unusual about Raymond. Then, she immediately touched it with her hand. "Brother, what's that? Don't move." Out of curiosity, Jean Shishan's hand grabbed that thing. "Don't move." Raymond immediately reached out and hugged Jean Shishan. Raymond, who had never touched a woman before, was instantly energized. Subconsciously, he felt like moving his waist. However, he quickly suppressed his instincts with his rationality. Jean Shishan did not resist when Raymond exerted his strength. She revealed a satisfied smile and ignored the thing that had appeared between his thighs. She closed her eyes and carefully enjoyed the scent on Raymond's body. 1 minute, 2 minutes. After 5 minutes, Raymond regained his inner peace. Jean Shishan's breathing also became very stable. She seemed to have fallen asleep. However, Raymond did not dare to move at this moment. This seemingly shallow sleep belonged to Jean Shishan. If he woke up, it would be even more difficult to end it. Moreover, it was quite comfortable to sleep like this. Let's call it a night. It was really difficult to hold the line when facing such a woman. Not long after, Raymond's breathing also stabilized. Jean Shishan was gone. She just went to the bathroom. How did she disappear? Did Raymond discover something and take her away? At that moment, Gal Gadot's mind was in a mess. She could not take this risk. She knew Ramon's learning ability and practical application ability. If she extrapolated from what Tuesday had said, Jean Shishan's mind was protecting itself from some trauma. Being the intelligent man he was, Raymond would have realized this. If Raymond started reading up on the art of hypnosis, Gal Gadot would not be able to bear the consequences. I hope she just went out to play. Gal Gadot thought so, but she went straight to Raymond's residence. She could not afford this risk. Once Raymond knew the truth, the entire world would go up in flames. With Raymond's ability, at the very least, he could make the top 10 consortia shed a layer of skin. At the very least, he would start a world war. The closer she was to Raymond, the clearer her understanding of him would be. Gal Gadot is not exaggerating. What she did not know was that Raymond already knew everything. Besides, Jean Shishan and Raymond were already sleeping together. Chapter 66. If you can't fight it, then enjoy it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 66. If you can't fight it, then enjoy it. What usually happens when a man and a woman sleep together? Some people can't sleep anyway. Jean Shishan was not one of them. She was deep asleep. Raymond worked hard to suppress his thoughts for more than 10 minutes and finally seemed to fall asleep. But he woke up again after 11 minutes. It couldn't be helped. As a carbon-based creature, he was still unable to suppress his hormones. Moreover, human genetics had been hard-coded to preserve itself. And to preserve the human race, one had to reproduce. It involved the act of mating. At that moment, the two of them were so close. Each of Jean Shishan's breath struck Raymond's heart. She did not mean it. But she was undeniably dangerous. Since I can't suppress it, then release it. Tuesday, give me the location of all the cameras in this room. Raymond slowly got up and destroyed all the cameras. Taking advantage of the moonlight, he slowly approached Jean Shishan. As if sensing Raymond's approach, Jean Shishan pulled him into her embrace. A force was exerted, and Raymond was pulled into Jean Shishan's arms. The soft feeling came again. Because he didn't suppress his thoughts, this time Raymond's heart fully performed its duty. Raymond's spongy body was full of blood. The tightness of the underwear caused him some pain. Fortunately, Raymond directly released it. Good genes made the art piece of nature stand at attention, as if proud of itself. Jean Shishan's demeanor only excited Raymond further. It caused a chain reaction of events. As if to beat the drum before the battle. The hand seemed to have a consciousness of its own. It unconsciously climbed a peak. However, the peak was somewhat muddy, making the 5 fingers sink deeply into it. In order to leave this swamp-like place, the 5 fingers continuously struggled. However, this swamp did not give them a chance. Struggling was useless. At most, it would allow them to constantly change their form. The feeling of being unable to grasp it caused Raymond to be a little absent-minded for a moment. Fortunately. Let's fight with both hands. Although they were only separated by clothes, the feeling was not much different. After all, there was no one on the island, so all the clothes that Gal Gadot had taken were of the best quality. However, Raymond was feeling particularly human. And humans were difficult to satisfy. Raymond was no exception. Like before, he could only build spaceships. But he did not think it was enough, and chose to build a battleship. If there was time, he would like to leave with all the best products. The insatiable Raymond was no longer pleased with the existence of clothes. A shirt was lifted. A hand slid in. Jean Shishan's temperature kept rising. He was so stimulated that his vision was getting blurry. On one hand, he was afraid that Jean Shishan would wake up, and on the other hand, he hoped that Jean Shishan would wake up. Although Jean Shishan's cognition had regressed, her body had not. At that moment, Raymond really wanted to turn on the light and see what the shape of Jin Shishan's two peaks was. Although he could basically draw the height of the mountain peak in his mind, he was not satisfied. A faint sound came out of Jin Shishan's mouth. It was as if she was going to wake up in the next moment. Raymond's hand immediately stopped its mischief, and his breathing stopped. She seemed to feel something, but she didn't wake up. Unconsciously, she lay flat on her back, forming a large peak. If it wasn't for the fact that Jin Shishan's breathing had barely changed, Raymond almost suspected that this woman was actively seducing him. The moonlight came through the gap in the window. It sprinkled on the two of them. Through the reflection of the moonlight, Raymond found that empty Jin Shishan could not appear any fuller from this angle. Moreover, gravity was no match to her lumps. Youth was the key to it all. The hand moved again. But because of Raymond's angle, he could only use one hand. As if self-taught, Raymond's left hand clamped the bean between his fingers. As he kneaded, the bean also kept changing. The bean changed its state of matter into something close to solid. This bean was more fun than a laser cutter. If he could, Raymond wished he could keep playing. The size of the bean was similar to the size of a cigarette holder. It was said that cigarette holders were made according to the size of the bean. Women's cigarettes have been made according to the size of a man's bean. Experts said that this size was most suitable for humans. They would unconsciously suck because of this size. After playing for a while, Raymond began to feel dissatisfied again. Pulling his hand out, he intended to lift up this layer of cloth. Raymond's movements were very slow. Jin's breathing was also very stable. Almost without alarming Jin, Raymond lifted up the black shirt. Under the moonlight, the two bags seemed to glow. Kneeling by Jin Shishan's side, Raymond's cupping hands took over the position of the cloth. As his tendons tugged, his 10 fingers kept changing. At the same time, Jin Shishan's breasts kept changing. Fingertips, fingers, palms. The touch from all over was transmitted to the nerves, and then to the brain. The brain was stimulated, and the hormones began to kick in. At the same time, Raymond's method also began to change. He was kneading dough, stubborn dough that constantly wriggled on the chopping board. Up, down, left, right, in all directions. Raymond was getting very addicted to this pinch. 5 fingers together, like sealing the mouth of a steamed bun. It was like a child playing with mud, completely relying on the feel of the hand. Press. Gentle press. BL. Net the stubborn flesh moved along with it. If Jin Shishan was not lying down, his efforts would be constantly righted by gravity, causing huge motions in the ocean. Scratch. The nails dug into the skin, it was indescribable. But looking at the delicate skin, Raymond could not bear to use any further force. For fear of destroying this God-given work of art. His hands sunk into it. Involuntarily, Raymond wanted to kiss it. Or suck it. Or lick it. Either way, Raymond was attracted to it. This woman was so magical. Most importantly, she did not have any shred of hair on her body. It was as fine as cream, like cheese. The beauty of the East was truly exotic. Raymond slowly bent over and took in her scent. It seemed to carry the scent of a young girl. It also seemed to be creamy and milky. The two scents merged together, and the strangeness of it made his nose feel as if he had discovered a new world. It seemed that the scents that he could smell had increased by several thousand types. Raymond plunged his head down. He immediately felt the touch of the little bean between his lips and teeth. Involuntarily, he sucked a bit. This time, he felt as if he had returned to infancy. It was as if he had just come into contact with this world. Chapter 67. Secret Laboratory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 67. Secret Laboratory. As he sucked gently, Raymond felt a little intoxicated. It was as if electricity was flowing through his brain. It was as if he had been poisoned. However, this poison was a healthy, beneficial form of poison. Infant peace, his movements caused Jean Shishan to react. She was responding slightly to Raymond's actions. However, at that moment, the earpiece that Raymond placed at the side made a slight sound. Raymond immediately stood up and put the earpiece in his ear. "Sir, Gal Gadot is running over here." "Got it." After receiving the message, Raymond took off the earpiece. After handling Jean Shishan's clothes, he lay down beside her once again. Jean Shishan unconsciously stretched out her hand and hugged Raymond again. The crime scene had been cleared. It was as if nothing had happened. Before long, the sound of Gal Gadot's footsteps could be heard from outside. "Raymond." Gal Gadot opened the door. After turning on the lights, she immediately saw the two of them. Raymond was sleeping soundly while Jean Shishan had hugged Raymond like a monkey. Jean Shishan rubbed her eyes unhappily under the light and looked at Gal Gadot with sleepy eyes. "Sister, turn off the lights. My eyes hurt." Gal Gadot walked to Jean Shishan's side and held her hand. "Come with me." "No, I want to sleep with my brother." "No, Raymond had a long day. Don't disturb him." "But, no buts. You have to understand others." "Okay." Jinsi reluctantly left Raymond's side. The two women slowly walked out of the room. As Gal Gadot was about to turn off the lights, she carefully looked at Mini Raymond. Although the blanket had covered it, the height was obviously abnormal. "He's so virile. Would it still be standing when I get back?" Gal Gadot whispered. She did not know if Raymond had hurt her. When Jean Shishan was taken away, Raymond had been most unhappy. However, another voice was giving him hope. After all, the arrival of the meteorite was getting closer and closer. Although it was already late at night, there were still a large number of people in Raymond's live broadcast room. However, a portion of the audience was a little disappointed. The specific reason was because of the bet. The time when Raymond and Gal Gadot first do it, within 1.72 hours, odds. 1.2.335, BDNV after 2.72 hours, odds. 1.1.352, within 3.24 hours, odds. 1.37.234, Don't do it, odds. 1.35.234, the third option, at that point, had blacked out. Needless to say, it was already out of the race. Among other things, Raymond and Gal Gadot never even shared a kiss. So the odds within 24 hours were completely gone. But the odds of the other options were still alive. The bets were still up. As long as someone was betting, the odds would not be fixed. However, the program team would block the option an hour before the time. It was just in case someone took the opportunity to cause trouble. "Hey, what do you guys think Jean Shishan was doing in Raymond's room just now? Did you not watch the live broadcast? Ignore him, he's a lazy slob. He wants to know the situation, but he's too lazy to watch the live broadcast himself." But, how should I put it? I don't understand Jean Shishan. She seems to be very infatuated with the smell of the thunder god. What do you think is going on? Who knows? But some experts said that when Jean Shishan was rescued, she took in the scent of the thunder god the first thing, so her subconscious would feel very safe around that scent, having associated with it. But Jean Shishan's appearance was quite interesting indeed. She actually had amnesia, but no matter how you look at it, it feels fake. Who cares if she's fake or not? As long as she looks good, it works for me. Nashi Prefecture, 129 kilometers southwest of Mary Town. There was a laboratory here. The surrounding people had no idea what kind of experiment it was for. At this moment, a convoy was coming from the outside. It was filled with all kinds of supplies. However, the truck in the middle was equipped with the most advanced shock absorbers. Moreover, in order to maintain the shock absorbers, the truck was equipped with 3 generators. It was clear that they attached great importance to this equipment. The garage door of the laboratory slowly opened. The convoy continued to move forward, reaching their destination after about a kilometer. It was a huge metal disc. The 17 cars of the convoy were not even bothered by the crowd. After a while, the convoy slowly descended. After more than 10 minutes, they arrived at the center of the laboratory. A bald man got off the car. Looking at the researchers who were welcoming them, he immediately went forward and asked. The nano-neutrino battery, how far have you gone? What does it have to do with you? You're the one who escorted the car, do you have the authority to know? The leading middle-aged researcher was very eager to transport the material, but he did not have a good expression towards this bald man. Escort car. Do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. Why, are you more powerful than Albin himself? What right do you have to ask me? The bald man was speechless for a moment. In the Ross Financial Group, as the CEO, Albin had a lot of power. And the board of directors was powerful. Of course, the bald man was powerful in his own right. But in front of Albin, he came up short. If he was in the Ross Financial Group, basically all the employees below him would give him face. But in this laboratory, faced with this group of techno-fanatics, he was practically helpless. After all, this laboratory was something he could never conceive even if he envisioned it. This is something that the financial group needs to know, if, without waiting for the baldy to finish, the researcher immediately interrupted him. You can either have Albin call me, or you can go to the side and rest. Don't you find it troublesome just standing here? The bald man was speechless. He had no choice but to call Albin. There were very few methods that he could use for such a one-track-minded person. Most importantly, this was his first time coming to this laboratory, so he had no authority at all. Here, President Albans is on the phone, get him to wait for a while. Can't you see that I'm busy? You don't have any vision at all. The researcher slowly walked over after the items were successfully moved out of the truck. He glared at the bald man and took the phone from his hand. Hello, boss. With the phone in his hand, the researcher walked straight to the glass house at the side. The moment the door closed, the sound was immediately cut off. The bald man tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart. His knuckles were so tightly clenched that they were turning white. Chapter 68. Raymond wants to build a nuclear bomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 68. Raymond wants to build a nuclear bomb. Energy. There were 2 main sources of energy in the modern world. One is oil, and the other is electricity. What Earth mostly did today is to boil water to generate electricity. Yes, it's very common to boil water. Nuclear energy and focused electricity generation both boiled water. It was essentially steam-powered, in a way. Electricity was already fully available in many countries. But why did they still use oil? Simply because batteries still did not meet the requirements. An important company involved in this was the Laster Electric Car Company. It was actually a subsidiary of the Ross Consortium. If the charging and energy storage problems of electric cars can be solved, then the Laster electric car would usher in a wave of explosive growth. After all, the technology of motor technology and oil technology had completely matured. If they had good batteries, even a small and insignificant company would quickly rise. Then a large wave of investment would be poured in. Then they could quickly go public. If they mastered this technology, they did not need other companies to inject capital, so they could completely eat the cake. Even if other companies came over to fight the price war, they would still hold a 70% monopoly. 70%, what a terrifying figure that was. It was almost impossible to imagine that with this move, the Ross Financial Group would surpass the first place in less than half a year. They would reach the peak of the world. The bald man valued this very much. Because he had 20% in decision-making power when it came to Laster electric cars. If Albin allowed his people to covet this technology, then his decision-making power would be diluted. He could be sure that when this technology was successfully developed, Albin's status will rise again. They would reach a height he could not even reach. Albin was only 34. He was in his prime. The future of Baldy would be bleak if Albin went up the ranks. I don't think he's gonna make it to the top in his life. Competition is everywhere. So, Baldy thought carefully. This time, he must not come back empty-handed. At worst, we'll have a big accident. Raymond asked Jean in detail. She did not understand the reasons. It's just a problem. She just likes to smell him. It's nice to smell. It's almost instinctive. So, as Raymond studied, she quietly followed him around. Not a word, not a peep. As long as she did not mess things up, Raymond was fine with it. Anything was fine as long as it did not affect his progress. Moreover, he had taken advantage of her, so it wasn't a big deal to satisfy her little request. Technology was the main priority. To reach the foundation of productivity, one had to build things. Previously, it was estimated that at least 3,000 robots could be produced, but that was before the CPU shortage came up. It was just a small road bump. In Raymond's mind, this was a minor issue. Right now, it was more important to deter those who were after his life. Moreover, there was another layer in the plan. He could not let outsiders know that he already knew about the program team. Therefore, Raymond planned to use the simplest method to solve this problem, to build a nuclear bomb. These days, Raymond kept reading and studying, and an idea slowly developed in his mind. He just lacked some materials. The key material, uranium-236, was still available on the island. How to present it rationally in the program was a more critical problem. After closing the book, Raymond began to plan. But when Raymond closed the book, Jean Shishan changed her approach. She squeezed Raymond and sat down on a chair with him. "Brother, you've finished reading the book." "Yes." "That. Did you design the robots?" "Yes." "Brother, you don't have a good aesthetic sense." "They're not good looking at all." "Good looking, as long they are practical, it's fine." "What's good looking about it?" Immediately, Raymond laughed. Jean Shishan's question probably made the audience who were watching the live broadcast laugh like crazy. "Don't you say? It's fine if it doesn't look good. I've seen the robots in the anime. Even though they don't look good, they have very powerful weapons. Your robot doesn't even have any weapons. What do you need weapons for? This thing is just for temporary use. It'll be enough to help me build a space battleship." After chatting with Jean Shishan, Raymond suddenly had an idea. Perhaps the right opportunity to make a nuclear bomb was with her. A spaceship, is it the kind that can fly out of Earth and shoot at aliens? More or less. It's just that I don't want to shoot aliens yet. I just need the spaceship to fly out of Earth and return safely. Oh, why is it different from the ones in anime? Do you like weapons very much? I do. The more powerful the weapon, the more I like it. You little girl. Then tell me, what's the most powerful weapon on Earth? Raymond pulled Jean Shishan out of the anime and into reality. Let me think. Jean Shishan scratched her hair. Raymond was very much looking forward to Jean Shishan's performance at that moment. Her knowledge had been regressed. He did not know if she was still aware of the nuclear bomb. If she could remember, then half of the matter would be solved. It's Big Fatty. Big Fatty. What is that thing? This time, it was Raymond's turn to be puzzled. It's It's the thing that made so many people and animals in Japan turn into monsters. My mother told me about it. When my mother talked about it, she was very happy. I remember it very clearly. As expected of someone with Korean blood. Jean Shinsher did not seem to have a good impression of Japan. The key point was that she had already raised this crucial question. Oh, I know what you're talking about. That thing is called a nuclear bomb. It's the creator of world peace, a necessity for the Third World War, a reserve material for the UN, and the hope of the anti-persecution activists. Brother, I don't understand a single word you're saying. Forget it if you don't understand. You'll understand it all in the future. But brother, since you can make a robot, then can you make a big fatty? Here it was. At that moment, Raymond really wanted to kiss Jean Shishan. She didn't even need to seduce him. She had said the magic words. Wasn't this logical? Of course it's possible. Humph, brother, you're lying. Mom said that only a few countries in the world have the ability to make this thing, and the materials are very scarce. You don't believe me. I don't believe you. Then I'll just make a few of them, would that convince you? Raymond looked like he was teasing a child, there was no serious expression on his face. Chapter 69. I won't watch a live broadcast without Raymond. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 69. I won't watch a live broadcast without Raymond. In the International Live Broadcast Room. Bakayaro. D*MN rabid dog, he's actually planting such propaganda into a child's mind. Oh dear, why, doesn't everyone know about the history of your country? Is it glorious to change history? Rubbish. Ha ha ha, you mongrels are all the same. You completely missed my point. Who was the one who released the big boy back then? D*MN Americans, D*MN Raymond. This live broadcast room should be closed. If His Majesty the Emperor of Japan sees this, I hope you can use your power to close this live broadcast room. This will greatly impact our children. Your Emperor is here to polish shoes for the Americans, baka baka. By the way, Thunder God wouldn't really build a nuclear bomb, right? How is that possible? Thunder God was just teasing Kim Hee-son. He was just humoring a child, didn't you see? Humoring a child. Didn't you see his boner? Men will always be men. Gail Gadot is so pretty. Yet his eyes have been led astray. But Thunder God looks beyond that, in his eyes, there is only the human civilization. We don't have love and passion, and we won't be like some people who have had their brains kidnapped by hormones. Brains. No, 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 there are no brains in their skulls, only sex and women. Other than that, there is nothing else. F***ck, who are you directing that comment to? A corpse can actually speak, how terrifying. The bullet messages streamed endlessly. Raymond listed out a series of materials. Tuesday, send these materials to laboratory number 5. Yes sir. Right, the base that I previously entered, how is it now? According to your instructions, the base is in the process of expansion. It will take about 11 hours and 24 minutes to complete. Okay, call me when it's done. Yes sir. It was the spaceship dock that Raymond had planned before. If it was just a spaceship parking bay, it would have been built a long time ago. But a spaceship dock was different. With a parking bay alone, the spaceship would not be able to come back if it left the Earth. But his current battleship was different. The thing was ridiculously durable. Its defense, resistance to pressure, structural strength, size and so on were all qualitatively different from a mere spaceship. Therefore, the previously designed rocket engine was no longer sufficient. It needed a more advanced engine. It also needed to be able to adapt to the vacuum in deep space. As for the rocket engine, many of its components were disposable. There was also an energy problem involved. Overall, a battleship was several times more difficult to build than a spaceship. If it were not for the lack of time, Raymond would have wanted to make it more perfect. Unfortunately, Raymond and Kim Hee-Dot's son moved to lab number 5. This lab was newly built. Therefore, the audience in the live broadcast room could not see what was happening inside. This made many of the audience extremely anxious. Program team, F*CKU, what should we do now? I'm F*King anxious. If there's no live broadcast room for Thunder God, I'm not going to watch. F*CK Maggie, where the hell have you been? Come out and think of something. If I don't see Thunder God for a minute, I feel like my life has lost its meaning. I want to see my Kim Hee-Dot son. My wife followed Thunder God into the house. I won't feel at ease if I don't see her. A man and a woman, together in a room. A man and a woman, boners and nipples alike. In the face of big boobs, how would the roar of thunder sound like? Oh, 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 O. OH, 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 O, the roof would fly off, they would lose their shelter. Before long, Maggie picked up the microphone in a hurry. Although she was anxious, her words did not indicate it at all. We have managed to plant a camera in Kim Hee-Dot's hair clip. The program team is activating it remotely, don't worry, a miniature camera like this needed to be activated. After all, such a small camera did not have a very long battery life. Not if they could use the nano-neutrino battery designed by Raymond. Otherwise, there would be long periods of camera silence. Okay. It's coming, it's coming. Why is the resolution so low? Let's just wait and see. Oh, they're not romping about just yet. The camera was mounted on Kim Hee-Dot's son's head, so everyone could clearly see the current situation. It was just that many people could not understand what Raymond was doing at the moment. One of his robots was lugging along a massive cable. The huge glass pool began to fill with water. All kinds of equipment were being assembled in Raymond's flying hands. Without a single word, the robot silently cooperated with Raymond. Where strength was needed, Raymond did not say anything, and the robot took over Raymond's work. Raymond only had to reach out and tools fell into Raymond's hands. If he could not reach something high up, a robot would act as a stepping stool at his feet. If some corner seemed a little too dark, a robot would light itself up. These robots were just like the live culture in Raymond's stomach. They knew exactly what he needed. With Raymond so busy in the laboratory, Kim Hee-Dot's son also seemed to understand that he could not be disturbed at that moment. As for the audience in the live broadcast room, quite a number of them started to envy him. My God! He's so D***MN efficient. If I had such a robot, don't think about it. When Thunder God finishes filming, the first thing he would do is to claim victory for the majority of his male compatriots. Sex dolls please, sex dolls. I can't imagine that Tuesday has become so human. She learns so D***MN fast that she's practically inside Thunder God's head by now. If not for Thunder God coding her himself, she would have never been born on a Tuesday. Our Thunder God would still be the leading intellect of the world. Do you guys understand what Thunder God is doing? Isn't it obvious? It's a nuclear bomb. Don't mess around. Tell me what Thunder God is doing. I'm curious. As a third-year student, I'm also very curious. I told you, Thunder God is building a nuclear bomb. F*CKU, are you done trolling? Get serious. Epsilon sad face Omicron asterisk, Psi, to be honest, you guys just don't believe me. Now Thunder God is preparing to produce heavy water, and what does he need heavy water for? Isn't that just those radioactive substances? F*CK, Kim Hee-sun basically dared him to do it, and Thunder God is now building a nuclear bomb. Would he pamper me like so? I'm in love. I hereby announce the birth of a new ship. The bullet screen in the live broadcast room waited for more than 10 minutes before they understood Raymond's intentions. The people from various countries had already guessed it when the robots went all about, pulling massive cables. Chapter 70. The ability to threaten the Pentagon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 70. The ability to threaten the Pentagon. In the United States, Secretary of Defense Edward Seidel was watching Raymond's live broadcast. Seidel, is Raymond really preparing heavy water? Yes, Minister. Based on your experience, what are the chances of him succeeding? Edward Seidel looked at the white-haired but energetic professor beside him, hoping to get the answer he wanted. If it's based on my experience, the power sources on the island are sufficient, but the equipment is insufficient. The laboratory is not airtight enough to meet the requirements for the preparation of heavy water. Moreover, Raymond's fan lake conditions are not enough. It's possible that if the heavy water is not prepared sufficiently, he will be injured. You mean that Raymond's chances of success are not high? Based on my experience, that's what I'm saying. You seem to have more to say. Yes, the current Raymond's way of thinking has already exceeded our understanding, so what he's doing cannot be judged by common sense at all. Moreover, according to Raymond's previous calculations, production, and compilation, the probability of him producing heavy water is at least 96% or more. Even if there is a problem with the laser cannon, it is completely within the acceptable range. Apparently, the scientist had become a supporter of Raymond. However, he still maintained his rationality. However, a discordant voice sounded beside Edward at that moment. I don't think Raymond can successfully produce heavy water. Oh. Edward turned to look at Bolin. Bolin, what do you think? Those who could stand here were naturally not ordinary people. Moreover, he was unwilling to give in to Cedric. Naturally, his ability was not much lower. I don't care about the laboratory being simple and crude. After all, my laboratory is not much better. The key is that the formation of heavy water requires a continuous voltage and current, which are the most crucial criteria. Does Raymond have it now? He doesn't. Raymond doesn't even intend to make this component. His procedure is all over the place. How can he make heavy water? Although Raymond's ability is indeed inferior, I have a negative opinion on this matter. After listening to Bolin, Edward looked at Cedric. Cedric did not say anything. It seemed that he did not intend to argue with Bolin. What is the probability of Raymond creating a nuclear bomb? Not greatly reduced, Bolin continued, without the support of heavy water, Raymond will not be able to control nuclear fission. He would be exposed to radiation at point-blank range and die in a short period of time. This, Walker suddenly frowned. Raymond may have come from the slums, he was still an American. As an American, Walker did not want Raymond to die like this. Moreover, he also wanted to get the technology in Raymond's hands. Be it the specific technology of the rocket engine, Tuesday's AI, or the battery technology and the laser cannon technology, he was very eager to get his hands on them. Moreover, Raymond's talent still had more to show, so he would certainly invent more good things in the future. In fact, the current Raymond, in the scale of the history of human civilization, had already been engraved on a large scale. But, who would dislike a better, more convenient world? At least, Walker wanted to see a better world. He also wanted to travel to outer space in his lifetime. He would also settle for a realistic virtual world. The premise of these dreams was that Raymond could live well. If he lived, there would be hope for himself and even for Earth. After thinking for a while, Walker found that in just a few days, Raymond had reached an extremely ridiculous height. Such a high level. Maybe a lot of people want him to die. And I want him to live. I want to see this dream-like world. I want to see the stars that cannot be seen. Raymond, he cannot die. But, Walker was not in a position to carry out his personal desires. When Raymond builds a nuclear bomb, it would be the biggest threat to the United States. In the face of national security, he had to hope that Raymond would fail. As for whether he died or not, it did not matter anymore. It was just that. Some people couldn't understand what Raymond was doing at all. Those who could understand him were trying to figure out his ideas based on their own old ideas. So, the result was a little comical. After more than an hour, Raymond's newly designed device began to operate automatically. He walked away. Call me when the production of heavy water reaches 1,000 liters, he was completely confident. This also meant that the device Raymond designed and manufactured had succeeded. Moreover, the audience could clearly see that the water was quickly rising. It was as if there was a high-powered pump constantly pumping water into the storage tank. How could he produce heavy water at such a rate? It was successful, just like that. It was that simple. Coach, I want to learn. Coach, I want to learn too, who's going to teach me? Is there a big shot who can explain this? Did Raymond succeed? Since there are no big shots who can explain this, then there's only one conclusion. Raymond's device successfully produced heavy water, but they could not understand the principle behind it. Is Thunder God's work at that point now? Does that mean that Thunder God is completely capable of handling a nuclear bomb with his bare hands? No, no, no. This implies a lot more, threat. This was a huge threat. The island was right next to the United States. Canada and Mexico were both in danger. However, the leaders of these two countries did not intend to stand out. First, Raymond was located in the United States. Second, the most worried should be the United States mainland. If the Pentagon was not worried, what should we be worried about? Worried. Was the Pentagon worried? They were not too worried. What nuclear bomb would be a threat? It was the kind of nuclear bomb that flew out into the atmosphere. That was an actual threat. The United States was not afraid of a nuclear bomb that had not yet been launched. After all, there were several military bases on the coastline near the island. Moreover, these military bases were fully capable of intercepting a nuclear bomb in flight. Therefore, the people of the Pentagon were not too worried. They just kept an eye on the matter. After all, Raymond was only preparing heavy water now. He still needed nuclear warheads, intercontinental missiles, navigation systems, satellite guidance systems, and so on. Only a complete nuclear bomb would pose a threat to the United States. Moreover, Raymond was still working on the belief that he was the only man on Earth. The Pentagon wasn't afraid at all.